Hi and welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast. I'm Zoe Whitman. I'm here with Joe Wood and we are joined by Nicola Fallon from Virtual Accounts and Taxes. Hi Nicola, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me on. I love doing these podcasts with you guys.
Oh, we love having you, Nicola.
Thank you.
Absolutely love it. Nicola, we're really excited to talk to Nicola today because we're actually, even though it's the 5th of April and it's just the end of the tax year, we're going to talk about self-assessments and getting ready for the next round of self-assessments and how Nicola's preparing in her practice. Nicola's quite new in business, quite new. You know, I feel like we've known each other for a really long time, but your practice is relatively new. And I wonder whether you can start by telling us a little bit about your journey, what prompted you to get started and how it's going right now.
Yeah, sure. So what prompted me to get started was being made redundant from my corporate role. So I'd worked in industry in lots of different finance roles for 30 years. Yes, I am that old. But I got made redundant and I thought it was a time of life where I had a few illnesses going on. And I just didn't really want to go back into the corporate world. I had a bit of money behind me, had time to think about what I wanted to do. And I thought about launching my own business. It was going to be a payroll bureau at first, but then I did a bit of research and found out about bookkeeping. I did all the qualifications with the ICB, got my practice license. But before I got my practice license, I found you guys online. And I did the startup program. Now, the qualifications help you with the technical side of doing the bookkeeping and what you need to do to service your clients. But I couldn't find anywhere that told me how to set up a business and how to set up a profitable bookkeeping business for myself. And it was a startup program that helped me to do that, really, through you guys, through the Six Figure Bookkeepers Club. I used it as a kind of checklist. I went through every task. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that now. Next task, I'm going to do that now. And it really, I just ticked off. You guys know me. You've known me for over 2 years now. I do take action. I follow the program word for word. And 20 months down the line, it's obviously worked.
Oh my goodness, it's been such an amazing journey, and I still think of you as new, but it's been 20 months. It's madness. So when you made this, so tell us some dates. So you was made redundant and you started to study. And then you found us. How long did that take for you to get some? Because you do really take action, and I know lots of people say, they don't have the time, but I know you were redundant. Was you studying full time at that time?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a strange process because my redundancy notice period was 12 months because of the role I had. Yeah, so I knew I was going to be made redundant in September 2020. So I did all my research before that, really, about the ICB and bookkeeping and that kind of thing. I started studying probably around May time, but I was still working at the time, kind of on a wind down handover period. September, finished work. I did start doing studying full time from September 2020 with the ICB. It took me 12 months to do the level 2, the level 3 and the level 4 qualifications.
Wow. That's a lot. I
didn't do it full time for the full 12 months. I was working in between because I've worked since I was 16 and it just felt really unnatural to me not to have a job and not to bring money in. So I was doing both at the same time. So I was doing a series of contract jobs during the study period. I found you guys March 2021. So that was 6 months or so into my bookkeeping journey. And I launched the practice in September 2021.
Wow, that's amazing. So how long did it take you to do the startup program while working, with your contract jobs and studying? How long did it take you to do it, do you think? Because you weren't just doing it and watching the videos, you were actually taking action alongside.
Yeah, I whizzed through it, to be perfectly honest. I'm a bit of a geek. I like studying. Obviously, you can tell by my background, I've got lots of qualifications behind me, and this was just another, I can study some more. But plus, it was during lockdown as well, so I did have a lot of time. I couldn't do anything other than work or study, so I did have that advantage. I did it in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Obviously, some of the actions took a bit longer, like getting the insurance in place, getting the ICO registration, things like that. They came afterwards, but I did all the applications for them within the space of 2 weeks.
I love that.
I was really keen to get started with my business.
Yeah. And I think that, like at that time, it would have been really easy to be like, oh, wow, like the whole world has sort of stopped for a bit. I could just take a step back. And but you just decided, no, actually, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to work through it step by step, and I'm going to find the time, and I'm just going to keep myself motivated until I reach the end. And it's a decision. It's deciding that you're going to do it. So
absolutely, definitely, yeah, absolutely.
So what does your practice look like now, Nicola? How many clients do you have?
Oh God, it's getting on for 250, and it's growing all the time. I just can't tell you how much it's snowballing, and I've had to kind of put a break on things, because at the moment I do all the onboarding, because I am the face of virtual accounts and taxes. People expect to see me when they first come, and the work is done by my team that I've got behind me now. But the onboarding side of things is quite lengthy process, isn't it? And it's quite time consuming, and I'm the blocker on that. So I've decided to put a stop on that for now, because it's tax year end. I've got lots of other things going on, and I just don't want to be working 24/7.
No. And oh my goodness, Nicola, 250 clients in a 20-month. It's just so inspirational to see what you've managed to do in a 20-month journey in your business. It's fantastic. And this is why really this podcast came about, because we were back in October, was it? We were on a webinar together, and we were discussing the fact that you've got all these clients and you've got self-assessments. Do you want to talk us through that?
Yeah, so it was part of the bookkeeping show. It was around October time, I think. And I was thinking, it's much too late in the tax year to be talking about getting prepared for self-assessments, because I do that much earlier on. I do it before the start of the new tax year. I get prepared for it then. So October, to me, I'm hoping to have all my self-assessments done by October, not just start thinking about it. The January deadline means nothing to me. That's just a deadline set by HMRC. That's not my deadline. My deadline is for this year. I aim to get everything done by the 30th of September. So yeah, thinking about preparing for self-assessment in October is just not even on my agenda.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, and that's it, isn't it? I think we get to the autumn, and then it starts to become the kind of general topic, like how are we going to get through this kind of deadline? And I love that you're like, actually, no, I'm already doing my self-assessments now. How do you get your clients on board with starting their tax returns so early in the year? Do they expect it to happen now, or are they kind of pushing towards that January?
Yeah, so I've got a process in place. So I approach all my work the same way. I set up a process, so I map out what the process is. I've used like Joel's method of post-it notes on wallpaper when I first started out. So the process is there. I know what I've got to do step by step, and that changes over time, because the more clients you have on board, the more the process changes. But now I think I've got it quite streamlined from start to finish. So for that process, the next step for me is getting the systems in place. So obviously the software I need to deliver the service. And then after that, it's the people. So getting the people on board. So that's like the people who work with me and to carry out the process. So I approach everything the same way. It's process, systems, then people. So I'm bringing the right people in your team to be able to deliver the service. So that's how I approach the process. The actual process for clients is I've already done this. I've emailed them all, the ones that have already onboarded. A couple of weeks ago, I told them that the new tax year is coming up. This is all done through Centre. I've got a template email in there. It tells them that I'm going to send them a checklist to go through to see if anything's changed from the previous year. And it's kind of like a declaration of making sure that they're telling me about all their income streams and any other things I need to know about. It's like a self-assessment checklist. So all my clients have already had that. So they're prepared for it. So the next step is to collect all the paperwork from them. So we don't do a lot of paper-based stuff anymore. I don't know if anybody remembers sometime last year, one of my clients sent me all the paperwork all clipped together in months, but with with pegs. So I try and avoid that kind of paperwork now. But anyway, they get the documents to me. Some upload it through Centre. If I do the bookkeeping for them, it's through HubDoc. So we collect all the paperwork that we need from them. And then if I don't hear from some of the clients that I've sent the checklist to, I will chase them up on the 1st of every month until they respond in some form or other. So the first chaser will be an email chaser. And then if I don't get a response to that, I'll look at how they first communicated with me. So some of them communicate through WhatsApp, some are on direct message through Facebook or Instagram. So I'll get a hold of them that way. But I am determined to get that paperwork over to us as soon as we can.
Wow. I mean, you've got a great process there, but there's a lot of clients. So how big is your team, Nicola, to help? Like, what support do you have in managing this? Because really it is, like you say, you've got the systems in place, which that's the easy bit, getting the templated emails set up, getting the checklist set up. Once you've done that once, that job's done. You don't have to touch that again. But collating the information and making sure people have actually answered and filled in the spreadsheet, that's the bit that needs people. So who do you have in your team that support you with this?
So I've got 4 employees now. 2 of them are purely on payroll. The payroll bureau side of my business is quite large, so I leave them to do the payroll side. So there's 3 of us that work on the bookkeeping and the tax returns and the limited company accounts between us.
And you were talking about how you've got different clients who communicate. I think one of the things is systems are really great, but there is like a human element that is the thing that's going to chivvy those people along. The ones that you're like, come on, I know you can do this. I know you've got a mental block about getting this paperwork to me, but we can get through it together. Those people really need somebody there, don't they? Like just in their corner and like supporting them through it. Have you kind of segmented your client base? You can be like, right, these are my easy people. They're going to just respond and do it. And then I've got these people who I know are going to be like, need a bit of a chaser on WhatsApp. And do you kind of make a plan so that you can deal with the easy ones first, maybe? Or do you actually start with people who might be a bit more difficult to chase up first? How do you stage it? Because I can feel like you want everyone to reply at the same time, but then at the same time, you don't really want everyone to reply at the same time.
And it never happens like that. They never all reply at the same time anyway. So it's absolutely fine. So I have I've got 5 categories of clients that we do self-assessments for. So my priority ones are the ones that we do the bookkeeping for ourselves. So we've already done the bookkeeping, everything's up to date, they're virtually ready to go. All I need them to do is fill out the checklist and we can do the tax return because we've got all the information that we need from them. So that's my first category. They're the easy ones, I think. And they've already paid up front as well. So I like to get them out of the way so they can see and they can prepare for the payment due in January. The next set of clients are my CIS clients because they're always eager to get theirs done quite quickly because of the refunds, because of the thousands of pounds that Bob down the roads told them that they're going to get as a refund. So they're my next set of clients that I try and get completed. The third are the ones that do their own bookkeeping. So for the third type of clients, because they do their own bookkeeping, and I've learned this from trial and error, I don't trust them to do their own bookkeeping, and I charge an additional fee for pulling all their bookkeeping together in a format that I can use to submit the tax return. So that's quite a good income stream for me, because it's more or less double the fee of what I would charge for just doing a self-assessment tax return. So I like to get those done quite early on, and because they're usually quite time consuming as well. So if I can get the information in as soon as possible for those guys, we can start working on pulling the accounts together. So my next set of clients is people. I do a lot of subcontracting work in the group. So so for other bookkeepers who maybe haven't got the level 4 qualification. So the timeline for them is kind of out of my control because they're not my clients. I'm just doing the self-assessment tax return for them. But yeah, so it is down to them. But a few, if any of them are watching, the guys that I work with, might be a few gasps for this, but I'm going to insist on a deadline of the 30th of September for those this year as well. So I'm up to number 4. I think, yes, on my final set of clients are the last minute Larrys, I like to call them. So I've got a couple every year. I email them and tell them that I want to get it done as early as possible. They email back quite quickly, to be fair, to say that they're seasonal workers, so summer's their busiest time. Is it okay if they do it later on in the year? And it's absolutely fine because we've had a conversation about it, and I ended up with only having to do 2 after September last year of my own clients. So that was really good. Yeah, I was happy with that. Yeah, so that's the 5 categories that I've got.
I love that. Doesn't it make it easier when you have like split them down, because not only are you know the kind of work that's involved with those different segments, you also have got an idea of timelines, and you can kind of rest assured that so at the moment you've got your priority, the people that you're doing the bookkeeping for, so you can focus your time and energy, and once they're kind of done, then you can move on to the next one. Now if the other ones come in in the meantime, fine, you can, but it's not your focus at the moment, and you can clearly like move your way through. And also I suppose the ones you're doing the bookkeeping for are the easiest, and then the CIS guys, it's pretty simple. It's not, unless they've got other income, but it's pretty simple. So I like the way that you're going through, and you're kind of not stressing yourself out, but you've spoken to all of them already. So you've very clearly communicated how it's going to be, but you also know that there's other time restraints. The bookkeepers that you're working for, they're going to do their best. They're going to get things to you by the 30th of September, but you've just kind of set this kind of boundaries, and it's like you've got this control over something, which when you say 250, so it's like, where did you get control back? And you've done that through systems, processes, and then segmentation. So it's really interesting, and I'm so impressed, especially being like such a young business, and then having a payroll bureau on top of that. Just blows my mind, Nicola. No wonder that like we haven't seen you so recently, because you're really busy. You're really busy. How do you manage mentally? I do find that I don't know if anyone else feels like this, but every time I take on another client, sometimes it does feel like having another child. Like it takes that much mental capacity up, and staff members as well. So you've got your staff members growing and your business and clients growing. How do you keep boundaries for your time and to make sure you don't burn out, things like that?
Oh God, that is always going to be a struggle, I think, with me, because I'm full on. I enjoy working in it's my business, and I enjoy working in it, but I have to set myself the boundaries now. You'll probably know I use the spreadsheet with time blocking, and I stick to that, because you can burn out, and I could work all night if it came to it, but there's nothing that's that urgent that can't wait until the next day, and I just keep pushing it forward. And at weekend, on a Saturday morning, I build in some contingency time for anything that I've not managed to complete during the week, so I can still ensure that I have free time in the evenings every night, but I've got a little bit of contingency on a Saturday morning if I need it.
I love that. I love that. I'd like your contingency time to be another day of the week, so you still get your Saturday. But yeah. I get that. I am on the drive.
I've blocked out a Wednesday afternoon now, because my mum and dad, both retired, and I love spending time with them. And they take my gran to bingo on a Wednesday afternoon. So after bingo, I go and meet them now, and we have a meal together. It's lovely. So that's what I do every Wednesday afternoon now. So I'm kind of moving my Wednesday afternoon work into a Saturday morning. That's the way I look at it. It works for me. That's the flexibility, isn't it, of having your own business.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Nicola. You talked to us about your workflow. So your process, like where you send your emails out, how you collect the information. How do you have that full view of what's happening in your business? So you've got these 5 groups of clients and you're obviously not doing tax returns for everybody. So how do you have that view that things are like moving along and progressing? Like who have I got paperwork from? Who am I waiting on? Who's is ready for review? That kind of thing. Do you have that level of overview and just to keep that sanity, really?
Yeah, I use Centre as my practice management tool. So it's in there. I can see my tasks every day. I can see what's outstanding. I can see which clients are nearing the deadlines. It's an absolutely fantastic piece of software. I couldn't do without it.
Oh my goodness. I'm so impressed, Nicola. I literally am just so impressed. The whole idea, I've definitely steered away from self-assessments. We obviously we do self-assessments for everybody, but we do all the bookkeeping for everybody. So it's not the actual self-assessment, but actually being that annual person that does it freaks me out because of how my systems and processes were built for it in the past. And then I have been, working in January, and I just wanted to build a business, which meant that January was just another normal month. And I've managed to do that. And yes, we still have self-assessments, but because like your first set of segmented clients, they're all the ones that we're doing the monthly bookkeeping for. So it's much, much simpler and everything gets done. How do you see things going in the future? Are you marketing for more? Are you having a bit of a time where you're just like hunkering down and getting, because I know you've taken a large influx of clients on. Do you want to talk about that? What's helped you grow? Because people are going to be thinking, well, how do you go and get 250 clients?
Yeah. Oh God, my marketing I market all the time, don't I? I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place. So I try and focus my marketing more on just talking about useful information rather than you've got to submit your tax return by January 2024. I try and steer away from that now and talk about things like the cash flow angle and the tax planning side of it, and maybe answer questions, explain what payments on account are, because not a lot of small businesses know what that is. So my marketing is kind of aimed down that route rather than saying this is a deadline, you've got 9 months to complete your tax return. No, do it now. Know what you owe HMRC, and you've got 9 months to save up for it and plan it if you've not done it already. Because obviously I've quite a lot of small business owners, especially the sole traders types and the CIS types that I work with. I've not saved up for the tax bill in advance.
Yeah, we all know those guys. So it seems like you're just on social media, you're being helpful. That's what you're doing. You're just being helpful. Anything that you're thinking about day to day, or any questions you're being asked throughout the day, you're answering those questions just publicly rather than just one-to-one to the person asking it. Has that been how have you grown your bits from the beginning? Where did your clients come from and where are they coming from now?
Yeah, so mostly Instagram. For this type of work, it's Instagram. That's where I'm finding all the small businesses, because that's where all like the sole trader types are advertising their own businesses. So I've got like local shops, I've got coffee shops, I've got a couple of models now, a couple of influencers, people singers in clubs and pubs, a couple of cafes. It's just a whole mix of people that you would find on Instagram that we do the self-assessments for now. So that it is mainly Instagram for me for the self-assessments. Other work, I would go elsewhere.
What I love about what you do is, like when I see you on social media, is you're not, like you just said, you're not going, this is the deadline, and you're not just there like telling people off, telling them things that they're going to block out. What you're doing is like really helping them and saying like, this is going to help you in your business. And it's fun. Like it's fun. I have a lot of fun watching the things that you put on social media. And I suppose that's the difference, isn't it? It's like being the person that they want to relate to and want to kind of hear from, and they're not going to be like, oh no, there's a thing I don't know about that, you know, and not alienating people.
And a lot of people at this level are probably bury their heads in the sand, and they know the deadline's coming up, and they're like, oh no, I can't deal with that right now. But if you're in the face all the time, reminding them gently, and they know that you're approachable, they will come to you and ask for help. That's what I found anyway.
We've had quite a lot of comments with lots of people saying that people loving your Instagram, Nicola.
Oh, right.
But there were quite a lot of people saying like they want to get ahead as well. So that hopefully this is really inspiring for people who are thinking, actually, you know what, I can, like right now in April, I actually can talk to people about, look, let's get on with your tax return now. It's the end of the year. Someone's asked, I'd love to know this as well, subcontracting work, because I know a lot of bookkeepers do this, particularly at the beginning of their journey when they're trying to, like, you know, bring a bit of money into the business. Do you manage all of that through Centre as well? Yeah, you can see it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's there.
Perfect. Thank you. So what's next for you in terms of the business? Like, what's your next project? You've got this big influx of clients. I guess you're waiting for things to settle down, but what are your goals for if we catch up this time next year? What do you think will have changed for you?
Yeah, so I have just signed up for another program, content to clients. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention that. I'm going to have an offer that's more geared to, I want to focus on larger clients now. I've done all my startup clients and my smaller clients, and I love looking after those guys. But the onboarding of like 250 clients has been quite time consuming, and I've learned now that, they can just come in organically now. I think I don't need to put much effort into that side of things. But I am going to focus my efforts on I'm going to offer like a full FD service. So I'm the FD. I've got a team behind me that can deliver your bookkeeping, your payroll, your VAT returns, and your compliance work. So that is my next target.
That's really exciting. And do you think that comes for everybody, you know, just getting to that critical mass where you've got that client base? I guess people talk about you anyway, and then that brings more business in, or you mentioned the word organically, that just kind of happens. And I think a lot of the time we're like seeking that, aren't we? At the beginning, it's like, who do I know? Will I ever find a client? Like, we have this conversation a lot. Where are these clients that are supposed to be out there looking for support? But it does reach a point, if you stay consistent, that they do know about you. What do you think was the tipping point for you, Nicola? When did it sort itself out?
Remember, I mean, I've been on a podcast before talking about this, but the first 6 months, I was like, I'm out there every day. I'm going to networking. I'm online. I'm everywhere. I'm on every platform. I'm talking to people. I'm turning up and showing up, and I'm getting nothing. I had 2 clients for 6 months, and then that was December time, 2021. And January 2022, it went like that, and then just went. So it was, from January 2022, and it's probably just the 6 months of people getting to know me, knowing that I'm turning up every day, liking the things that I put out there. I make sense. I know what I'm talking about, and it's just the know, like, and trust factor, isn't it? And it did take 6 months, and I was really frustrating at the time, and I was ready to get back on that bus and go to the corporate world because that was the easy option. But what's the saying? You've got to choose your hard, haven't you? And I chose to stick it out. But that's because you guys taught me into it. Jo said to me, there is a diamond there. I'm just about to reach it. And she was right.
Oh, I love that. And I suppose that's the message for anybody. Like, the sooner you can start with showing up and telling people that you're here ready for business, the sooner you'll start to get that 6 months of traction that you really needed. How did you feel though about that? Were you confident putting yourself out there at the beginning?
Well, it's not something I've ever done before, so I wouldn't say I was confident, but I learned a lot from the success program on the marketing side from you, Zoe. You put a lot of really great tips in there, and we had lots of sessions, didn't we, in the group, and all my marketing expertise comes from you, I would say.
I think think a lot of it comes from you, Nicola. I think you're someone who runs with things, as you've shown us, and it's really inspiring. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's maybe because I'm a bit older as well than most people in the group. I don't care what people think. If they don't like me, they can go away. I'm not I'm not bothered. It doesn't affect me. I don't what other people's opinions don't affect me. I've got a good set of friends around me. My family are absolutely fantastic. I've got that support network there. I'm really, really lucky. So as long as they're happy with what I'm doing and they support me and they're proud of me, which they are, then I'm just going to carry on and do what I've always done.
Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and talking to us about like the really practical elements of managing that number of clients, and just showing us that with a small team, you're able to do this. Like, you've been able to bring these clients into your world and you're able to support them. And it just, I think it really is going to inspire people to think, well, okay, how can I do this a little bit earlier for myself to give me that breathing space so we don't get to Christmas time and have that massive list of things to be thinking about. For anyone who's watching this and they're thinking that they'd like to start a practice,
Sorry.
Real life happening. For anyone who's thinking of starting a practice, what would you say to them about, like, how do they prioritize to get themselves started?
Oh goodness, definitely join. Sign up for the startup program, I would say, because that tells you what to do first and in what order. Gosh, it's hard work, but if your goal and your vision is to work for yourself, have the flexibility, have the freedom, and earn a similar wage to what you were earning in like an employed role, then you'll do it. You'll put the work in. Choose your hard.
Love that. Oh, Nicola, thank you so much. How can people connect with you and find out more about what you do, please?
Obviously, I'm everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm under Nicola Fallon on LinkedIn. I'm under Virtual Accounts and Taxes on Instagram. Nicola Fallon and Virtual Accounts and Taxes on Facebook. I'm also on TikTok, but I don't really do very much on there.
Oh, that will take off. Watch out. This account's going to have 1 million followers before you know it.
I just won't call myself a TikTok accountant.
And on that note, thank you so much, everyone who's joined us today. Really nice to chat to you, Nicola. Thanks, everyone, for watching and sharing your support and asking your questions. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the podcast. Take care. Bye.